remove harmful insects. It makes it sound like a pleasant thing. And I was watching it. I was watching that stuff here. Now, I'm not going to get fucked over. Okay. All right. Instead of this thing I was going to tell you, no, I can't, man, I'm not going to sit here and have a yelling contest with you people. You pay your money and you screwed up for all your friends. Anyway. Sorry. You make it real hard. Okay, this is just a hunk of stuff from this book that I just finished. About a year and a half ago, I started getting these ideas. Like, have you ever walked down the street and you were passing in a car or in a train, and you start seeing these things really fast? It's like complete crystallized images, like a zillion photographs being thrown by your face. Well, I do a lot of traveling and I see a lot of isolated movements. Like, I was on a train a few months ago and I passed through the Midwest, and it was really shitty weather, and the sun was just peeking out through the clouds, and it was cold, and there's snow on the ground, and I'm just whizzing through the middle of nowhere like Bruce Springsteenville on this train. And right around this corner, I went right past a graveyard, and there's no one in it except for one man sitting on a stool staring at a headstone with all these flowers by the grave. And I thought it was a really powerful image. All by himself in the snow, spending an afternoon with whoever it was. And it made me start thinking of all these things that I've been seeing, so I decided to start writing them down. And I got way into it, and I ended up doing this book called 1,000 Ways to Die, and I wrote 1,000 of them down, and here's some of them. She turned towards me, eyes flashing, mouth slightly open, soft, warm breath. She wouldn't stop talking, her mouth roared, her words clung to the curtains and stung our ears. Man at the counter stares at the clock, lights his seventh cigarette, and waits. She cried, black summer nighttime, right eye swollen, jaw wired shut. He jumped. No one told him he couldn't fly. Tell me how it feels when the gun is in your hand. Tell me how it feels when the knife is in your guts. Touch me, I'll pay you. Lie to me, make me think you mean it. I gave her all that was in me. Clearly, it was not enough. Don't put that gun to your head. Don't leave us. We aren't quite done with you yet. Speeding like a bullet, falling like a tear. Horror, paralyzed velocity, car, broken body. Alcohol helped him keep the dreams from invading his sleep. One seat open at the back of the bus. I'm too scared to go. Teenage boy hanging in the garage. Wait till your father comes home. The taste of your mouth in my mouth. Alcohol, cigarette, tired feelings chased into a corner. Her flesh sagging slightly underneath my hands. I crush my eyes shut and lie. Late at night, I look out my window. Snow falls past the crime lights. Do you smoke? No. Do you fuck? I only smile at children and old people. They seem to need it the most. He sits on the porch. Maybe today is the day he dies. Some friends aren't. You can never be too sure. Thoughts came to him like bolts of lightning for a moment so clearly defined and then gone. He sits in his room. All is quiet. The night moves slowly, endless. I can't ask her what her name is. I can't make my mouth work. The child turns around on the seat and waves at me. Mom turns him forward and makes him sit down. She would hand me a stick of gum and tell me to chew it before she let me kiss her goodnight. His father went to the gas chamber. His mother went to the liquor store. He beat off again. Same place, same time, same reason. His sister cries because she hates it when he shoots up in the family bathroom. Her husband went out for a drink. Her husband came back as a drunk. He sees the black boys coming towards him. One has a stick. His stomach turns to ice. I can't pay. What am I going to do? She passed out when the paramedics put the sheet over his face. She and I walked down the evening sidewalk, leaves crunching underneath our feet. That lady that lived downstairs became famous on our block after some dude raped her. She turned and kissed him. He turned electric. Breathe in wood-burning fire smell, streetlight glow, and the sound of passing cars. She smiled at me tonight. Where is she now? A man came to their table. Their no thank you sent him away red-faced. She wants him, not you. Doesn't that make you want to kill? The dog carries a leash to the master, waiting for the bus. She's late for a 12-hour shift. 2 years she's been dead. Still, it hurts me so. There's nowhere he could go, so he went. Sometimes the world kisses your cheek, but not tonight, not here. Lonely night on death row. She told him that she didn't want to touch him anymore. At the job, he looks up at the clock, sighs, and looks back down. 6.5 hours to go. The sound of his voice brought me down. I wish I had the guts to let go of what is killing me. I cross the street. The black boys at the bus stop stop talking to each other and start staring at me. His hand shakes. The whiskey bottle falls and shatters. He starts to cry. The lights go down. The people file out. The performer slumps over, empty and alone. He checks the mailbox. Empty. He sits back down and stares at his shoes. I think he needs a break. The judge said 6 years. The judge thought he was dreaming. I'm a slave to my insecurity. He tried to cry. The tears wouldn't come. The girls made him feel filthy. You know that feeling when you lie? Go ahead, touch me. I wish you would. The car hit the boy perfectly. My father drinks. He scares me. My mother invites men into a room. They scare me. He picks up the phone and holds it and puts it back down again. Won't you ever stop? Please, I can't take it anymore. No one listens to me anymore. Sad, stupid, raped, and stoned. When she touched him, he felt cold and distant. He's drunk again, and it hurts. Jealousy eats my brain like acid. She told me how her father used to feel her up. The telephone turned into his enemy. Those nights long ago were the best. He threw up on himself again. She was hated amongst her friends. I never got over her. His fist hits the glass. His fist hits the wall. His fist hits the woman. His fist hits the child. The sound of snow falling. The sound of autumn wind through the dead leaf trees. Please let me go. Girl, high on heroin. Boy, low on heartbreak. The wino's face, a study in pain. He kissed her. She started to cry. Don't trust them, really. He took a deep breath, made sure he had the pistol, and entered the liquor store. He came with a bat. He meant business. Monday alarm clock, 5:30 a.m., ringing relentless loud. Ice cold room. Have a nice day. She caught him looking. The cop asked. He forgot how to talk. He hasn't seen her for months. She ran her hand up his shirt. He took off his glasses, made a fist, and moved in smiling. The big red sun setting against a red brick building. I can't take my eyes away. Don't worry. We are right behind you. She's amazing. No one can make me feel worse. Beautiful, young, hooked on heroin. She loved him. It wounded her. Shut that dog up or I'll kill it. They move. They feel immortal. They are. She stares. She smiles. She walks away. She shot herself in the head. Hate, fear, bullets, fists. Agent Orange scars his skin. You want it so bad. The woman lights up another cigarette and waits for the bus. He's talking loud at the back of the bar. The old man falls down. We all walk by. The blood in a puddle drying on Sunset Boulevard. She left him. She left you. She left me too. Even nobody knows me. The city claws my guts. She's not on his mind. My mother got mugged. So what? Oh, don't clap. No need, no need. Relax those hands. Here's a quick short story about a guy who was a genius. There's a guy at a bar. He starts talking shit. He starts fucking with some other guy at the bar. The bartender snaps his finger, the bouncer comes over, kicks the living shit out of the guy, and throws his dumb ass out onto the sidewalk. The man staggers home, throws up one tooth and all kinds of bourbon and gin all over the placemat of his front door, goes inside, falls asleep on the couch, wakes up about 45 minutes later and starts thinking, maybe I should go back and kick that motherfucker's ass. And then he meditates on that for a moment and thinks, maybe I should just sit here and watch television. Genius. Here's the story about a guy who wasn't such a genius. There's a guy where I used to come from in Washington, D.C. He sold flowers. He was the scariest man I've ever met in my life. His name was Pete the Flower Man. He was down in Georgetown, and he was this mean old Greek guy with no hair. He used to shave himself bald. Pete has a large crease going diagonally across his face where a police billy club broke in half as a cop tried to swat him over the face. And his son told me that when his father, Pete the Flower Man, received the blow to the face, he just stood there and laughed as blood just poured profusely out of his head. So we're dealing with a total psychomaniac. I worked as a ticket tearer and usher at a really shitty movie theater about 8 storefronts down from Pete the Psychotic Flower Man. And every few days I come down there to tear tickets and do my homework and hang out and get my ass grabbed by a bunch of old queens who used to hang out in the front lobby. I'd hear new and amazing stories about Pete the Flower Man and the acts of violence and insanity he had done in the 3 or 4 short days while I had been away at school. And there's this one really wonderful story about he's out there outside with a flower stand, the sun is shining on Wisconsin Avenue, and one of the fashionable clothes boutiques across the street was being robbed. And someone's going, oh my God, there's a robbery going down. Well, Pete the Flower Man is bulletproof. Nothing can happen to Pete because he's Pete the Flower Man. So anyway, Pete goes across the street and goes into the clothes store to try and straighten this thing out. He's got in his hand a large stick. They get into some kind of brawl. All of a sudden, the fight now is rolled out onto Wisconsin Avenue, a very busy thoroughfare, and Pete is on the yellow line in the middle of the road with a stick. The robber man has a brick in his hands. The traffic is stopped. Everyone is gathered on. The Flower Man is going to do. And this is the part where the guy with the brick wasn't such a genius. So they're standing there like this, and Pete goes, okay, look, I'll make you a deal. You drop the brick, and I'll drop the stick. And the guy went, okay, and dropped the brick, and Pete went, BAM! And split the man's skull open. The guy who dropped the brick was not very smart that day. It's another quick thing. Everyone, they always ask, how'd you get started? Who's your main inspiration in life? You all had heroes when you grew up. What's that guy's name? Rolf? Harris. Yeah, okay, you guys had Rolf Harris. We had Crocodile Dundee. We had Ronald Reagan. Okay. When I was about this high, I lived all my life, 20 years in D.C., Washington, D.C., where the White House and all that bullshit is. I lived basically in the same neighborhood, which is Washington, D.C. is a big diamond. And you have northwest, southwest, northeast, southeast. Northeast and Southeast, white man does not show his face because it'll get blown off by black folks who aren't so into white people. So, being a chicken shit white boy, I grew up in Northwest, like a whole bunch of other chicken shit white boys. So anyway, I spent my whole 20 years pretty much in Northwest. Anyway, when I'm this high, there's this psychotic street bum who I knew and all my friends in my neighborhood knew, and his name was, he went by a few names. His name was Paul, or Crazy Paul, or Sky King. And he was one of the most colorful and amazing derelicts I've ever met in my life, and he's a major influence to me and a constant inspiration. And he's become so popular in Washington, D.C., that an old defunct newspaper, the Washington Star, actually did a big article on the guy, getting into the man's roots and where he came from and everything. And apparently, the man graduated from the Georgetown University in Georgetown, very prestigious law school. He graduated with a degree in business, and he started booking some of the first, the response in America to the British invasion was all these American bands trying to sound like the Beatles. He was one of the big bookers of this wave of bands in Washington, D.C. He had 3 or 4 nightclubs and a large restaurant called the Round Table. He was making all kinds of money. In 1 week, his mother died, his wife and his business partner left him with all the money. He flipped out and hit the streets, and he's never been back to the world that we call sanity ever since. So I just remember growing up with this guy. When I was 6 years old, I saw him. I'm 27 years old, I still see him, and he's still out there, and his raps get more insane and more brilliant every single time. And there's one or two quick stories I just wanted to relate to you folks. Maybe you might get a kick out of it. I was working at a pet shop on Wisconsin Avenue where Sky King likes to hang out. Sometimes he'll get in Wisconsin Avenue on the median strip and he'll direct traffic. You've got one lane going this way and one lane going that way. So to the cars that are going this way, he goes like, and the cars going that way, he goes like, keeping everything in order. So without him, who knows how many traffic jams and accidents there would be. So anyway, I'm working at the pet shop with my boss, who was a neurotic queen who had nervous crying breakdowns when anything happened out of the ordinary. One time Paul comes rolling into the pet shop, resplendent in a trench coat, a large traffic safety triangle, brilliant orange, some kind of wild hat. He looks kind of like Aqualung on Angel Dust. Just hair, the beard, utterly filthy, the smell of excrement and urine and sweat and tobacco and cheap wine reeking forth from his body. He's a genius, he's a visionary, he's a poet warrior in the classic sense. Anyway, he comes into the pet shop and he starts taking wild Irish rose wine and putting it into all the parakeet water things. And my boss goes, "Get this man out of here! Get out! Get out! Get away!" And the guy's like, "Ah!" My gay boss goes flitting off back to the corner. And I go, "Paul, yeah, what are you doing?" He goes, "The parakeets need alcohol." So he starts servicing all the birds, giving them their fair share of alcohol. And Paul, being totally insane, only understands logic that's totally insane. So I go, "Paul, look, we're trying to build an airfield in here right now." We both dropped down onto one knee, and I explained where I wanted to take off. I wanted the planes to come in through the front door and make a nice takeoff over the ballpark, right out the back, right over the dumpster where we take the trash. And we shook hands on it, and I told him to go out on the street and get busy and do whatever needs to be done to get this going. And so he's like, "Right," and he marches out of the store. And my boss says, how did you do that? That's amazing." I said, "Well, you just got to know how to talk to the guy." So knowing that Paul does many amazing things, I followed him outside because I'm a big fan of his. I like to watch what the man does. So anyway, he goes onto Wisconsin Avenue, looks around, staggers across the street. I'm following him. He goes to the Leonard Hair Salon, which is one of the old-fashioned hair salons now torn down. where they have those huge machines they put on women's heads. And I've never really quite understood what those things do. I think the only way, I think it's some kind of man's machine where they must brainwash women into domestic submission. The only way they can get a woman to like wash dishes and take some man's shit for like 30 years. I think once a week they go get brain damage from these things. Like, they think they're getting their hair dried or getting the dye caked into their skulls or whatever. And I think it's just some kind of like plot, like microwaves or like maybe tapes. Like, submit, get stupid. Love him. I know he's a bovine, but he reminds you of a Cocker Spaniel. Yes. Okay. So it's one of these classic old places where all the men look like Salvador Dali, the thin mustache and, the lighter hair salon. I mean, you can imagine what all the guys in there look like. Men with fake French accents who flit about and talk to 56-year-old women with saggy flesh like they're 16 and hot. So Paul opens up the door like he's going into some Western ballroom scene, and the sun comes streaking in through the door. And I can just imagine what all these women see. They see, well, first they're hit by the stench of poo-poo and urine and a man in utter decay. And they see this black figure eclipsed in blinding sunlight. And he shuts the door. I'm right behind him, just like, oh God, this is going to be great. And I swear to God, this is true. I'm not kidding. He opens up his trench coat. He pulls out a dead squirrel in full length, in a state of decomposition and rigor mortis. He goes like this, like he has a hand grenade, and he screams, "Donate your bodies to science, you fools!" and hurls the dead squirrel, and then drops to his knees to take cover for the impending explosion, which never came. And then I said, Paul, we better get out of here, man. We're going to get in a lot of trouble. And I convinced him to come out because we had to get on with the airstrip. And Paul would do many fantastic things over the years. He was always a snappy dresser. I don't know, none of us could ever figure out where he got his clothes from. One time, we saw him on the street with a beautiful white disco outfit on. And someone just must have given him. And white shoes, the whole thing. And we don't know how he got that. And then another time, me and my friend Ian, we saw him, and this is no shit, in a full nurse's outfit. Without the stockings, and he had like some mountain climbing boots on. But he had this like filthy white skirt on. And this kind of like calypso hat, like one of those straw hats, like the crazy colored band around there, like, hey, I'm going to Hawaii, hey, And he would stand by the bus stop and wait for all the tired executives from downtown to get off the bus, and he had this huge monkey wrench with him. And he would just like walk up, and he's not a violent person, he would just stand there and just go like this. Can I have money for a beer? And there was a man in a nurse's outfit with a hat that should belong to that guy, Tequila, whatever, Eddie Buffett or whatever his name is. Well, can you imagine having a hard day, getting your ass beaten by the U.S. government, getting off a bus, and there's a stinking man in a nurse's outfit holding a monkey wrench up in the air saying, give me money for a beer. There was like grown men whipping out their wallets, throwing dollar bills, backing away. And I walked up to him and he goes, can I have money for a beer? I go, put that thing down, Paul. He's like, I go, Paul, what are you doing? You're going to get arrested. He goes, oh, I use this to get the tampons out of the toilet. And I just remember one Sunday afternoon, we were both hanging out in this ballpark, and it was one of his brief, well, he usually has 30 to 40 second lapses of sanity, and they're really incredible moments. But anyway, he had like a full 90 seconds of sanity, and I was there for it. I don't know how many people have ever. I'm sitting on this bench cooling out, and he's telling me how he's going to build. He's going to change all the parking lots into ice skating rinks, and he's going to turn Wisconsin Avenue into a large river for kayaking because the Olympics are coming. Winter sports in the wintertime, summer sports in the summertime. Kayak races on Wisconsin Avenue, ice skating rinks in the old Europe parking lot, $300 a day, $2,100 a week. Bicycle tires, sombreros, falling out of airplanes, hot dog stands, $300 a day, $2,100 a week. Red, blue, green, black. Their father is being eaten by king snakes. Okay, Paul, you're hot. So he gets up off the bench and he starts doing this kind of dance thing, you know, like this. I'm going, nice step there, Paul. And he goes, you know, I always wanted to be a dancer, you know. I go, yeah. And he turns on this beautiful pirouette, puts his boot up against the chain link fence, and goes, but you know, I go, what? I can never get this shit off my shoes. I went home, staggered home, dazed, my mind twisted from the awesome genius of this man. And the last time I saw him, I actually got a tape of him. I put a microphone in the strap of my backpack right there, and me and my friend Ian Mackay, we went up, we found him on Wisconsin Avenue, and we turned the tape on, and he goes, hey, how you doing? Like, whenever he sees us, he knows that we're always good for at least $5. I always lay a lot of money on him to help him with his alcoholism. And so he goes, hey, how you doing? And he managed to talk about the Great China Wall, golf, $30 million, his teeth not being fixed due to the fact that the State Department is holding millions of dollars because of what they need money to finance all the babies being born in America. He went as a wonderful transition from drug dealing into football, into the Great China Wall, into the U.S. Marines, flawlessly. I mean, amazing. But that's the last time I've seen him, and I figured I'd just tell you about it. Yeah. When I got down here a couple of weeks ago, Tim Pittman, our promoter and buddy on this mission, put us up at Bondi Beach at this hotel. I think it must be some kind of sleazo rock hotel, because you come in there and everyone's got their guitars and all this stuff, and they don't even give a shit. So it must be where a lot of sleazy rock and roll people go. But anyway, a few days before, Tim had been taking me swimming here and there, and I went to Bondi Beach, and the beaches in California, there's a sand and waves, and you go paddle in and splash about. Well, we went to this one place where there's this rock, and you have to get up to the edge of the rock, the water comes in, and as it recedes, you got to dive in with it and paddle out, otherwise your body will be squished into the rock. And there's like all these Australians all like, oh, here we go, and all going in. Here I am, all these tattoos, this whole thing. I'm like, terrified. I'm like, if I fuck up, I'm going to get sucked into the rock, I'm going to become a massive fucking human jelly. And I'm standing there for like 2 minutes. Tim and his roommate, they're off paddling around, having a great old time. I'm still out there like... And finally, I lost my footing, and the water just like pulled me in, and I kind of went, oh, and just like went in. So anyway, I went swimming around for a while, and there's so much seaweed wrapping around me, I kind of thought it might be sharks or jellyfish or shit or something. I went, oh fuck man, I'm out of here. So I paddled in, and I was sitting on this rock, you know, just kind of hanging out in the sun, and like, there's like these three guys all like in little Speedos putting suntan lotion on each other and, you know, getting all close and comfy, and they all turn around and they all like all at once all look at me. Like all like yum. And then they go into a conference, you know, like and then they both kind of break, they all three break up. And there comes one of them, to come over and talk to me. I'm like, oh God, leave me alone, you know. Because on these beaches, I got all these tattoos, I look all weird. I just want to be low-key and be left alone, you know. So he's about to come over, and I'm just like, fuck, I really don't want to talk to this guy. So he looks at me, and I just like look at him like, I will kill you. And he just went like, and went away. So I go, well, it's probably time to find Tim and find my t-shirt. I have horrible eyesight. I know that I left my t-shirt somewhere in these rocks. So I go across the beach, everyone's like checking me out. I hear, so now I'm like going through these rocks with like these like soft ass feet of mine, desperately trying to find Tim and my t-shirt. And I'm going around and I go around this corner, like looking. Around this corner there are 3 women with no tops on, all just kind of blind, and I'm like, I'm not looking at you, I'm looking, and they're like really not into me staring at them. I mean, there's this little tiny rock cove, and it says us 4, very intimate. I'm like, hi. And I said, hi, excuse me. Turn around, go, wham! Put my foot down on one of those barnacle things that must have been this big. The pain. The quality, the purity of the pain was immense. The blood drained out of my face. But I had to keep cool. I couldn't sit there and go, oh my God! Ah! So I just went, oh, good day, good day. And went on and turned the corner, and I was like, and out of luck, Tim goes, Rollins, where the fuck you going? I'm like, walking past him pathetically, bleeding. And so finally I get roped back into where my t-shirt was, and I put it on, and I'm sitting there, burned to shit, bleeding, lost and alone. And these 2 guys come up. The first contact I ever had with anyone in Australia besides Tim and his roommates, people come and go, are you Henry Rollins? Yeah. Oh. We're both stoned on mushrooms, and we thought that was you. Well, good day. I'm like, right. Now maybe that we have a grip on things, I can go back into this roach concept. But anyway, about 5 hours ago when I was talking about the bug spray, the only point I was trying to make is that with the bug spray, you can advertise destruction and murder and killing. And when you have a roach in your house, say you have 60 million roaches in your house, you don't want 599,999,099 dead. You want all of them dead. Total genocide. Okay. So I was watching this one ad for Louis the Fly. Well, I guess this. Okay, right. See, I'm sure y'all grew up with Louis the Fly. I'm sure. So anyway, there's like the family at the table, and in comes the cartoon fly, and I was going. And the woman whips out the spray. For the next 30 seconds, the fly is in agony. Rolling and burning and screaming. And the kid is going, bye-bye, Louis the Fly. And in 10 years from now, he's gonna, he's gonna be a cop. He's gonna be sticking like a billy club into some punk rocker's eye. Bye, you punk rock scumbag. And I just thought how, and then right after I started seeing these commercials, I saw some interviews with all these people on this unsolved mysteries, and there's this one guy who kills bugs for a living. And I kind of got his opinion on something. He said, Waldo, Emerson, exterminator. And it just looked so heavy. The guy's not this fat, balding guy. I'm an exterminator. But this seems so heavy. Yes, I am the exterminator. And seeing all the bugs everywhere we go, there's these big, fat old cockroaches. And where I live in Los Angeles, I live in a shitty, beat-up neighborhood in Los Angeles called Silver Lake, which is East Hollywood. It's right where Hollywood starts to crumble and what's called East LA starts, which is white man goes in and goes, hey, look, homeboys, there's a white man. So about a mile east of where I live, it gets really terrifying. So anyway, I share a house with my roommate who runs a book company, and about 80 zillion roaches. And whenever I'm not on tour, I go home, and of course the house is just crawling with bugs. And I go into the kitchen on the nightly search and destroy mission with armed with a can of insecticide, turn on the light, and I know all of you have seen this. You'll turn on the light, and the place will be just wall-to-wall bugs. And for one split second, nothing moves. It's like, we're like, shit. And then, they come back to their senses. Escape and survive, eat cardboard, and they're all gone. So I go in on the nightly S&D with a can of spray in my hand, and we've got the whole kitchen wired with those roach hotels. That's what we call them in America, roach motels, the sticky stuff. Okay, well, in about 3 days, the roach motel will be wall-to-wall roaches. And what I like to do with them is take two boxes, kind of like binoculars, and put them up to my eyes. And you can see what you're looking at, but your vision is coated all the way around with like bugs in the most intense positions. And they're all standing, their antennas are still going, and I try to imagine what is going through their minds. They're all in there dying together. And I was trying to think of, what if you put one box down, fresh out of the package, put it down on the table, and then went away. The first roach to go in there, it crawls up the ramp. It smells like some good shit in there. I'm gonna go eat it. Plop, tweak, fuck. Oh my God, trapped! I'm going to die. Okay, his buddy is right behind him. Sam went up there. I'll go get down with Sam. I'll go eat some food. Crawl, up to the edge. Hey Sam, what's going on down there? Now you'd figure that Sam would go like, no, don't do it, it's a death trap, it's genocide, they're trying to destroy us all. But what I'm thinking is maybe the roaches are so bummed out because they all look alike and they're all very frustrated because they have no individuality. They probably all hate each other's guts. So I goes, oh yeah, come on in, Frederick, it's fine. Next time I goes in, plop. You motherfucker, you're gonna die next to me, you stupid son of a bitch. And then they both team up, yeah, let's kill all of our friends. And then they all come in there. And I don't know if you have this game in Australia, but there's this old living room fun game called Twister. Okay. Well, if you look at those bug things, some of those poor animals are in the most intense positions. It looks like it's cockroach Twister. They're like, the right angle of the cardboard box, they got one leg here and an antenna here, and they're in the most uncomfortable position. Or the head plate, they will stick their heads into the wall, and they'll just have their heads against the wall like this, like they got their nose in the corner, and they're really cute like that. Or somehow, they will get upside down, and they'll be hanging from like one arm, just dangling. Sometimes what I do is, I take them and I talk, because I hate roaches. Well, I love them, but I hate them. But anyway, I'm like, haha, you're going to die. And I have different games for them, like dropping them, like shock, impact, and like shaking them. You're still alive, you're going to be here for a long time. Wake up, roaches, wake up and know that you're going to die. And I have this game called Satan's 7 Gates of Hell. It was like cops from a Venom song. And that is, you turn on the stove and you hold the roach hotel high enough above the flames so that none of them actually burn. But you can see like 3,500 roaches in one box all writhe in pain and agony at once. Rollins be kind of there, casually waving. You put them in front of the heat, and they're like, writhing. It's a real feeling of power for me, So this one quick story about this one roach this one night. I killed them in different ways. We have a large map in the kitchen, and they all hide under there. So when I turn on the light, I'm like, I'm ready with the spray death. They all go behind this map of the world. So I'll pull it back and I'll see one going, okay, he's just left Los Angeles. Let's see. Coming down on Hawaii. Pull up the thing, right underneath Hawaii, he's all smashed. I'm like, ha ha! And it's kind of like this game I can play at 4:30 in the morning when I can't sleep. So anyway, that's called the sonic fist of death, when you just smash down the roach. And one thing I've noticed is when you have a mother roach, when she's heavy with child or children, whatever, they've got that big butt, okay? If you are chasing one, if you notice, mom roach will eject her egg sac, kind of like a clip in an automatic weapon. As in, and I was just thinking about that, what a wonderful motherly gesture that is. As in, I'm going to die, but long live the new flesh, my kids will survive. So she goes, and gets rid of the kids and takes off. Think if a human would do that to you. What if your mom was pregnant with you, 8.5, 9 months, just busting out with you? I come into the house, silly me, with my 9mm and shoot your mom right between the tits. Bam! Okay, is she going to claw her way into the kitchen, get out the family steak knife, and cut you out cesarean style so that you live? Or is she just going to be self-indulgent and just go into panic the fact that she is bleeding out of her mouth, ears, nose, and chest, gushing blood? No, she will probably not cesarean your ass out. She'll probably just die on the carpet with a sucking wound, okay? So I think the fact that Mom Roach shoots all the kids out knowing that death is near is a wonderful gesture. So this one night, there's a roach trying to make its way from the toaster to the stove. They hide in the stove. And it's going, yeah, and I'm like, fist of death. I only glanced it. It rolls to the side. All its guts are in a long trail out its ass. The bug keeps on crawling. And I'm going, wow, look at this thing go. I mean, all its guts in this tiny, inch-long, snotty little trail with this little ball of liquid at the end, and it just keeps on crawling, and its guts are kind of like snot, and it's just kind of sticking to this tile. And it just keeps on crawling, and I keep shooting it back so it can't get away, because I want to see how long this thing is going to live. And it keeps on crawling, and now the piece of gut is picking up pieces of food, and cat hair, and dirt, and so now it's kind of like, imagine me taking a boat hook, slamming up your ass and tying it to a Jeep and telling you to crawl home. I mean, that's kind of what it's like. It's pulling its own guts plus all this garbage tied to it. And I thought that's a pretty righteous thing, this animal just keeping on crawling instead of going, oh, I'm dying. He's like, no, I've got it. And then the rear two legs kick out. The rear wheel traction is gone. The last two legs, they just like drag. They stop moving. So now it's like pulling its guts plus dirt plus its rear two legs, and it just keeps on crawling. And I got really into it. I watched this bug survive for like 20 minutes. And then I just got really bored. Hey, Mr. Roach, Ms. Roach, you've got a lot of guts. There's a lot of intestinal fortitude, which I can now see on the table there, and you're like a TV show to me, so I'm going to terminate your command. Bam! And I killed it. But I was just thinking, I learned a lot from the experience, the beauty of the struggle. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, it ate shit, but if you were the roach and you were down there crawling, knowing you're going to die, maybe being in a bit of pain with like all 14 feet of your intestines trailing out of your asshole, might be kind of a righteous feeling, just crawling along. And often I'm made to be put in the position of crawling, and I remember the roach, the mighty roach. Here is a couple of pages of journal, just, Dear Diary. And just from the other night. 11:07 p.m. of a few days ago. Sydney. 3 interviews and 1 photo session later, all is done. Not much of a day off. I feel dizzy, too much sun. Tomorrow at 6:45 a.m. we leave for Adelaide. Went for a swim today, got recognized in the water, on the boardwalk, and while eating. Makes me nervous. Depression seeping through the cracks. My resolve remains unmoved. Sometimes it's hard. More and more I find myself alone. What interests me is how things always end up. You can never remember how you got there, and when you're there, like being a certain way, it's hard, next to impossible, to retrace your steps. Like when you find yourself so totally alone, alien. It's hard to understand the process, that the process was years in motion. Sitting in the lobby of the hotel watching the ugly people come in and out. Outside it's warm and people are eating the shitty food. Last night there was someone yelling and screaming. Sounded like he or she was getting stabbed. This can be such a lonely existence, being so far away from things that are familiar. I used to think of things from the old days, like home, women I've been with, stuff like that. Now those days are so distant and have been revisited so many times that I can no longer go back. The Black Flag days have turned bitter and sad inside me. I sometimes blank out entire years of my life so I can get on with myself. This leaves me in a wasteland. I'm not trying to drag my ass or bitch and moan. Maybe I am, but the feeling I get now is so devoid of any background. I feel like I've been left in the middle of nowhere with no past. Maybe it's for the better to just get on with the mission. Regret is a hard stone to swallow. I don't think I'm making any sense right now. Maybe I should just stop. Frustration again. It's been happening for months now. I keep thinking that maybe I should take some time off, like a lot of time, like a few months, just to rest, to soak up some juice. But then I know if I do, I risk losing my edge. I can't get soft. I must stay on the trail, one rung at a time until the end. Hang in there. 1/18/89, 12:37 p.m. Adelaide. Some drive. Got on the road at 9 yesterday morning. Got here, it looks like here. 1/19/89, 8:10 p.m. Adelaide. Last night's show was not so hot. Hard to hear on stage. People spitting beer. Loads of fun. 1:20/89, 3:24 a.m. Adelaide. Played hard as shit tonight. Opened with Move Right In and took it from there. Voice held up real good. A guy tried to rip a handful of hair out of my leg. Of course, it was when my back was turned. I kicked backwards, caught him hard upside his face. His girlfriend did the same. No sweat. Kicked her too. I must say, a nice passing shot. Someone threw a bottle. I threw it on the floor so it broke. Told people to stage. Gotcha. I can't. I won't take their shit. I won't do it. The rest of the night was real playing, and that's always the best part. Now we move on to Melbourne. We leave at 8 a.m. I feel like writing more, but I gotta sleep. 2:47 p.m. Got up a couple hours ago. I don't want to meet any of them. I just want to destroy. The fact that I'm in Australia no longer matters to me. Might as well be Cleveland, Ohio. I get up in the morning, and there's only one thing on my mind, and that is the show that night. There's nothing else. What the fuck else is there? My beautiful home? My darling girlfriend I miss so much? No, there's none of that. There's destruction, and then there's getting ready for the next one. I know I've said this before, I know that, but when I woke up this morning, all I could think about is this. There's no one I turn to. I'm alone in the zone. I was warming up last night. I sat in the corner and watched these people get more and more fucked up, decaying. Every once in a while, one would come up with a mouthful of drunken blabber and spit beer into my face. I watched this woman nod out, nearly burning herself on her own cigarette. These people have something to say to me? No. The last few days I've not even looked at girls. I have nothing to say. I realize what my purpose is. There will be no progression. There will be no change of direction. There will be destruction. Drunks at my feet, spitting beer, telling me to hurry up, pulling my hair, grabbing my dick. I don't take them very seriously, and I sure don't want to meet them. Any apologies? I don't make any apologies. I get like this. The pain drives me inwards. Having no one else to depend on except me makes me like this. I see why I am like I am. If I do a bad show, I have no one to blame but myself. If I don't keep moving, I won't be able to pay my own rent. I can't stop. If I do, it doesn't get done. It's no bad thing, it's just the way it is. I did my time on the outside. I remember society. I remember reaching out. I remember all the letdowns, all the friends that I thought I had. I did my time out there getting watered down, getting pumped and poked by television emotions, getting twisted into other people's worlds. The hot, sweating nights thinking, wondering about some girl. That was good. That was something that I should miss. Becoming one of them, becoming watered down, losing focus, forgetting identity, getting confused, riddled with self-doubt, having to lie, having to rely on confidence and conviction instead of the real thing. All that pain, fucking loneliness. I learned that heartbreak is negative, a waste. I have one purpose. When I'm with them, it fucks me up. I'm good at one thing. In order for me to maintain the level, I must get power from the purest source. 1:22:89, 5:22 a.m. Melbourne. Have to get up in 3 hours to load into a club for a matinee. Tonight's show wasn't as fun as the night before. First song in, a girl tried to rip my pants off, so I pulled her hair. She proceeded to lunge at me, keeping me away from the music. Right after that, I felt a hand on my shoulder. I brushed it off. I turned around in time to get hit in the jaw by another girl's fist. I ripped her shirt off and had a hold of her neck, which I was going to try and break, but the bouncers intervened, made the rest of the night not so fun. I kept a low profile, so if any projectiles got thrown, they would hit someone else in the crowd and not me. Another guy punched me. I took care of him after the show with a shot to the throat. He fell over an equipment case. Can't trust these people. They throw shit, try to hurt me. It's alright, I can handle it. Believe me, I'm not trying to come on like some kind of tough man, but sometimes it gets downright beastly out there. I'm still trying to learn how to handle that. Those are harder. Hugs and the kisses are harder than the punches, I found. And the punch in the mouth is much easier to understand. Fuck you is a lot easier to understand than I love you. And a lot of times, fuck you hurts a lot less, you know what I mean? I wrote this thing and you hear the word he all the way through it because I was too chicken shit to write the word I, because it's about me. So, know that I'm talking about myself and I was too chicken shit to write it. He could see it in her eyes. It was plain and painfully clear. When he touched her, she went cold. When he touched her, she turned wooden. When he touched her, she didn't move and flew miles away from him. It was as if his touch sent some icy alien current through her. The way she would look away and then look at the floor made him feel bad. The last thing in the world he wanted to do was make her uneasy or upset. That was not his way. But it was so hard to, deal with it. To not want what he wanted because he was not wanted where he wanted to be. It's hard to swallow yourself whole. It's hard to stay away from what you want. It's hard to tell yourself you don't need what you want. It's hard not to let yourself feel subhuman when your key doesn't fit. Your key, your honest, well-intentioned key. Rejection makes you feel dirty, alien, criminal, worthless, small, creeping, skulking, impotent, wrong, hateful, mean, and vicious. Feeling good is okay. Feeling not good enough is an endless, nagging wound from which some never heal all the way. Astros. Here's just a quick story about the delightful neighborhood I live in called Silver Lake. I saw the pig in his car. I was crossing the parking lot. There was no other way I could go. The sidewalk was blocked by construction. I didn't want to walk by a parked pig car with a pig in it. You never know what could happen to you. Those pigs are weak and vicious. You never know what they want to do to you. when they see you minding your own business walking through a parking lot. I thought it would be best to walk on the passenger side of the pig car, better not to surprise him. I walked by as quickly as I could. I tried not to look through the car window. I didn't want to make eye contact with the filthy pig. I couldn't help it. I looked in. I knew I shouldn't have done it. I wish I never saw what I saw. That Mexican boy sucking that pig's dick. The pig didn't see me. He had his eyes closed. His hand on the boy's bare back, rising and falling. I don't like to shoot pigs in broad daylight. I like to do my public service at night. I think it's more polite that way. I don't think it's right for kids to be coming home from school and see a pig in 8 pieces. I don't think that's the kind of thing that kids need to deal with at that point in their lives. I think they have enough on their minds. Best not to confuse them and distract them from their lessons. Yeah, so anyway, I shot the pig, put a bullet right through the windshield, right in that pig's mouth. I will never forget the look on that kid's face when his head came up with all that pig cum dribbling out of his mouth. That look in his eyes, pure fear and surprise. I smiled and waved at him. I recognized him. The little shit lives 3 doors down from me. Such a hard problem with authority. Through the years, I've come to resent policemen. I'm sure many of you have too. We stopped in Yaz, the friendly town. They call it the friendly town. Yes, the friendly town. And it was Rollins Band and Mass Appeal, and we pulled in with our 2 vans full of equipment and dirty socks and shit. And we jumped out onto the sidewalk to get some food. And in about 35 seconds, there's like this cop with a notepad and this like really evil, grinning goon going like, "So where are you from?" Knowing that in the smallest goes, "I want to kill you. I hate you. I'd love to have someone bend you over and fuck you in your ass." And he's like this, and like, no one's really saying anything, so I step up, I'm going to be the MC. "Oh, well, we're on a tour of Australia playing rock and roll music." He's like, "Uh-huh." And he's smiling even harder now, which means he's all more pissed off. "Mind if I get a few particulars?" Like, "Well, my anus can fit 1 finger in, but I'm sure I can relax it enough so when you slide the greased fist in, it'll be okay, officer." Anyway, he fucked us around for like 20 minutes asking where the band came from and where we came from and all kinds of other stupid fucking questions. And it just would have been really nice to go, "Man, you talk too motherfucking much," taking out a gun, putting it in his mouth, and just going, "Check this out." Bam! But you just can't do stuff like that. Here's a couple of, oh yeah, I wanted to tell you guys this horrible thing I did the other day. We were up at Bondi Beach taking photos for Rolling Stone, and we're on this rocky cliff, and there's the ocean and all kinds of groovy shit underneath. And everyone's like standing around waiting for this photo dude to get his shit together. And of course, there's the cliff, there's a big pile of rocks. I'm like, "All right, destroy!" I'm like, heaving rocks over, like trying to listen for them to splash. And I went over to one side of this cliff, and I had this big old honking rock. And I'm like, fucking destroy it! Pushed it over, and I was leaning up trying to see where it went, and it went, and it was like so far to drop it, you lose sight as it's going in,
It
smashes down on like this rock, just pure rock surface, and it just explodes into like all these pieces. And I went, "Wow, man, that was really wild." And then I looked over, and like 5 feet from here to about here, there was a fisherman standing there. And I look over and there's like 30 fishermen standing there. And were they looking at their little strings in the water? Or are they looking up to see what asshole nearly killed their friend standing over there? I look down, they're all like, I'm like, and I sat down, I got like really like nauseous. I mean, really fucking off the guy. I mean, if it hit him, it would have killed him, flat out. And luckily, this must happen to those guys all the time because no one came up and threw me off the cliff. This is this other thing, I don't know why I felt like I wanted to tell this story, but I think it's kind of funny. A few years ago, I was in Pennsylvania, in America, way up in the mountains, and we were playing, I was in New York, which is upstate New York. So anyway, I'm playing with this band, Black Flag, and after the show, we're going to go stay with some college kids on the campus. We're going to go stay in their dorm. And me and this road crew guy named Joe Cole, we managed to pick up on these two really beautiful co-ed girls. And we're kind of dirty and rough looking, and they're kind of not, and we're wondering why these girls are even giving us the time of day. So anyway, me and Joe proceed to the girls' room, and we're in there trying to, make time. Hey, baby, haha, and all that stuff. And we're looking on the walls, like pictures of Duran Duran and Brian Ferry, and we're going, God, man, we're never going to get laid in this scene now. So anyway, the lights go out, and there's two beds, and Joe and some girl, and me and this other girl whose name I don't remember. And everyone's like going, ooh, grope, grab, and all that stuff. And it's been like 6 weeks since I had touched a woman. And you guys realize, you remember that when you don't do that for a while, you get really excited to the point where something happens that you wish happened about 10 minutes later. So anyway, I'm with this incredibly beautiful girl, and I'm like, stick it in. 1, 2, 3. Oh God, no. Okay, pull out top. I'll just rest for a moment. So I go like, now I'm ready. I got my mind on baseball or politics or how much money I owe, so you can not even think about enjoyment. So I'm going to go in again, and I'm about to stick it in, and she's just like, Nyeh. I'm like, boing, 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 hey! And she's just kind of like, well, I'm like, gosh, why not? And she goes, So I'm not going to go like, okay, lady, I want to, okay, great, trying to go to sleep. I'm like sweating, aroused, my balls are inside. They're going, what's the matter? What? Why can't we come out? I'm sorry, I don't understand. This woman's crazy. Maybe she doesn't like me. So I went to sleep. Oh man! And early in the morning, I get up and I survey the scene, and the sun is just starting to come up over the horizon. And I look at Joe and his girl, and they're asleep. And I look over at this thing, and she's asleep. And then I really start laughing out loud at this thought of the thing that I knew I had to do. And so, I won't mince words with you. I had a hard-on, so I jerked off and came on the side of this girl's head. Well, it had to go somewhere. And I figured might as well go out with a little style. And since with all that pent-up frustration, a lot of stuff came out. And so I'm like, just try not to explode in peals of laughter. And then I did something that was pretty shitty. I took a magic marker and drew mustaches all over Duran Duran's faces, and I went into their tape collection. I found that they had a few Black Flag tapes, and I took the rubber cement and taped all the little cases shut. So I grabbed my sleeping bag, and I went out to the van, and I went to sleep there. And in the morning, Joe comes down with this girl following him, and Joe was like beet red and grinning at me. And the girl goes, why did you leave? I said, I just felt like getting a breath of fresh air here in the van with the mosquitoes. And she said something like, well, don't you want to talk to me? I said, no, I'm very talkative. It's like went fake sleeping until she just like went away. And then everyone gets in the van and we drive off. And then Joe starts laughing. He goes, did you? And I went, He goes, I thought you did, because we all got up in the morning and this girl starts going, what's all this stuff in my hair? And Joe said, he started laughing, and then he had to leave too, and he went running out like in peals of laughter with the girl following him. And I think after we left, she probably put two and two together and found out that I'd come in her hair. Not the nicest thing to do, but at least I didn't hit her over there with a crowbar or something. There you go. I always wondered how it is for girls after, with guys it's so convenient. You stick it in, you fall asleep, or light up a Marlboro, open up a sports magazine, or put a piece of leather in your mouth, or watch a fucking Rambo movie or something. But girls always have to hang out with you afterwards, long after you've gone. I mean, walking around with you dripping out of them for the next 4 hours. And there's this one girl I hang out with in Los Angeles who I have a great deal of respect for, because she's so blunt. I mean, she does not fuck around. And every time we have sex, she just gets up and goes, God, now, Jesus Christ. I mean, I can take a shower or anything, but still, I'll go home, and 4 hours later, some of your goddamn cum will come out of my leg. It's really gross. I'm like, sorry. But she's really honest, and I really like that. Here's just some dreams I had. I'll read you a few dreams. I keep this book, I write down all the choice dreams. A woman straps me in a chair. I remember that there's a place that injects music into your head with a syringe, and you will have music in your head for weeks. No need for a stereo. Can you make this stop feeding back, please? Do your best, thanks. Okay, well, maybe we'll get it next year. Anyway, no need for a stereo. I guess since the lady is strapping me into the chair, this is the place. She sticks a big needle into the side of my head, and I can feel all this juice rush in. I'm handcuffed to a chair. Someone is putting a joint in my mouth. I smoke it. My mother is dead. Someone tells me. My mother is dead. Someone tells me. All these people are all over the place crying and carrying on. Me too. I get taken to a room. There's a casket sitting in the middle of the floor. Someone opens the lid. There's a body bag in it. The bag is zipped partway open near the head. I don't look in. My mother comes up to me. I'm in a group of people. We're down in a trench of some kind, digging. She's all happy and smiling. She wants me to go and pick out a coffin with her. I'm at the Forum in Los Angeles with Joe Cole. We're watching Jimi Hendrix play. It's 1986, and as it happens, Jimi Hendrix is not dead yet. I go backstage to talk to him. He's there. I say, hey, I'm looking forward to hearing that CD of the Winterland show. It should be great. He says, yeah, it's not the whole show. It's part of the show with some compilation cuts on the end. I nod and about to ask him another question, but he waves me off and walks onto the stage, and the crowd goes nuts. I return to my seat and tell Joe that I thought he was better last time. John Lennon's mother is selling John Lennon dolls. The dolls' mouths are sewn shut like the mouths of shrunken heads. My father sicks his dogs on me. I run away. I'm in a car wreck. My back is broken. I'm in an all-fours position. I'm loaded into an ambulance. The attendant stuffs a plastic bag into my mouth. I start to suffocate. I try to push the bag out of my mouth, and I can't do it. Oh yeah, this is one of my favorites. Ted Nugent is doing an interview, talking about how he got shot in his face. He points to a hole on the side of his nose and refers to God as Big Daddy. This is my favorite. I go to a girl's house. There's a guy sitting on the couch. He's grinning at me. The girl comes out of a room. She's smiling too. She motions to me to come into the room. I go. She holds out 2 presents for me. I asked if she's giving these to me because she wants to be rid of me. And she says, yes. U2 is on stage, and the Edge starts the song and screws it up, and the rest of the band yells at him. The crowd boos. He starts again with the exact same notes, and the band plays the song, and the crowd goes wild. Me and Greg Ginn from Black Flag are watching it from a remote television set, and we both laugh and imitate the Edge's playing. Here's this one true story. It's a horror story. It's a very short story. It's a 1.5-inch story. A few months ago, I was in Los Angeles, California, and I was in Westwood, which is where UCLA is. It's West Hollywood, where people aren't real. All the men are tan, and they look like squash players, and they all drive beautiful Porsches. And the women all look like Barbie. And they're this high, and they're blonde, and they're tan, and they're beautiful, and I don't know anyone who's ever actually touched one of them. I don't even know if they're real. And there's nothing but sushi bars and Haagen-Dazs and money, and all the big movie theaters are there. And anyway, for some reason, I was in that neighborhood, and I'm with this girl who we were out on a date, and the next morning I had to fly out to go on tour, so I was trying to, spend time with this girl, and she's a few years older than me, and she does television and movies, and she's kind of like a more together person than myself, not crude and whatever. So anyway, I'm trying to put on the slick thing like, oh, my dear, let's walk down the avenue. And I hate, I'll just digress for a moment, I hate the band U2 because they lie. They're liars, and they sell hope like a commodity. It's like, don't do anything. Just sit here and let me put my big dick in your mouth, and then buy the t-shirt on the way out, and everything will be okay. You hold your breath until the double album comes out. I mean, they're just the most pompous, lying, Christian, moralist piece of shit I can imagine. And of course they're big in America because America is full of fear. They just fill stadiums with people who are fearful, so this bubble butt guy Bono can carry them through with like these lyrics he wrote about parts of America he's never even been to. He writes about poor black men playing the blues he wrote in the back of a limo. I can't get to it. So anyway, I was always thinking, wouldn't it be great to like pop that dude upside his head? I mean, there's all people you all hate. And, like some movie star, a rock guy, like all kinds of women want to shoot David Lee Roth between his eyes with a 30-06, or everyone wants to kill everyone in Motley Crue or Poison. Everyone knows that. But did you ever get to these people? Do you ever see them outside of like from a mile away when you buy your $18 ticket or on MTV? No, you never get to see these people. So anyway, I'm walking down the street with this woman, and I hear all these people in the street going, all right, Bono, dude, all right, you see, all right, all right. And I look ahead of me, and there is Bono Fox walking toward me like, oh my God, this is it. My mind is going like a million miles an hour. Okay, what do I do? Okay, he's coming by me, I can stop him and cross him with a left. No, too obvious. He's got a hat, he's got a tuxedo, cowboy boots, and like a western hat on. And he's walking with his hands jammed in his pockets, staring at the ground, walking really fast. And people all over are recognizing him. And I was thinking, what a great move would be to knock his hat off and spit on him and go, you suck, in front of all these UCLA grads who would just be standing there in horror. And I would do it. What's he going to do? Arrest me? I'd run. So anyway, I'm thinking, okay, this is it. God, this is it. I wish the camera was on. I wish I could get documentation of me smacking Bono upside his motherfucking head. And he's coming closer, like 10 paces away. I'm going, okay, here's the move. And then I remember, I got this girl with me who, if I do this, she'll never talk to me again. And I'm going, okay. And then here's where I sell out, because it's either smack the dude in the head and strike the big blow for rock and roll, and not be able to go home and play around with this girl, or let Bono walk home, go to her house and go, yay, woo, and play around with her naked body all night. So, thinking that I was leaving her for 8 weeks, which was a drag, so I really like her. He walks by me, I'm going, okay, kill or fuck, kill or fuck, kill. And he walked by me and went, that was Bono from U2. And she said, oh, so what? I know. I suck. I know. I blew off violence for a night of beautiful, intimate romance. I know. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, you're right. It wasn't worth it because I'll never get that close to that guy again. I guess they were in town completing their epic double album, Rattle and Hum. Anyway, I have prattled and rattled on for quite a while, so I would like to just cap this off with one quick little message. And don't think I'm trying to do like some old man heavy dick, okay? Maybe I am, but I can't help myself. I go all over Europe and I go all over America, and I see a lot of young folks, you know what I mean, 21 and down, and a lot of teenagers, 17, 16, 15, 14, and I got almost 100 pieces of mail a week, and a lot of them for these young folks, telling me about this and that, and how everyone in the world hates me, and, I got a mohawk, and every guy in town is beat the shit out of me, and, girls are telling me how they've been felt up by their fathers, and my mom's on coke, my dad's on booze, I don't know what to do, and they hit me with all these crises and stuff, and you remember, well, I guess you have to be 18 to get in here, so everyone's kind of an adult. The fact that you survive the ages of 12 to 18, if you look back on it, it's kind of a miracle at times. When you used to be so fucked up over the fact that you had acne on your face, you didn't want to leave the house, and when you turned 25, you had acne on your face, you go, I don't give a fuck. But you remember 10 years ago, you're like, I'm a leper, and you crawl in your bed. And it's just amazing, you think back at all the stupid shit that you did, that you didn't get yourself killed when you were 16. And I just see the thing that bums me out. I go to a lot of shows, so I do a lot of shows, and I go to a lot of shows, and I'm not playing shows. And I just see so many young people getting really wasted. And I'm not coming on like a preacher or nothing, but it's really a drag. I was at this show in Melbourne the other night, and there's all these jumped out people, man, like I told you about that girl nodding off, and there's all these fucking heroin junkies off in the corner dead. And there's all these really cool young people, wild motherfuckers, just blitzed out, just zoned out, passed out. There's one guy who laid down in front of the stage the whole set. He wasn't even there. Paid his money. He's gone. He's passed out the whole time. And it just really is a drag to see all that cool, young, energized flesh get so neutralized and so turned off when you can do something else that's so totally cool. And the only message from all that, if it is a message that I wanted to impart, is the man, the government, society wants nothing more for you to get fucked up and be a nice, malleable, pliant piece of unthinking flesh so they can fit you into the factory, fit you into line. And that's why they make beer and cigarettes so groovy and all the booze. So you can come home from work, drink 2 beers, you're exhausted anyway, then you'll leave the TV, then you'll copulate with the wife who you don't even know, and then you'll get to thinking that the fact that they give you Saturday and Sunday off, that it's a gift from God. So what I'm saying is, maybe if you understand that in reality the man wants nothing more for you than evil death and submission, you might think twice before you get so fucked up that you can't even think. The fact that you get fucked up, you just play yourself into the man's hands, and you want to say fuck you, just stay straight and give him a big grin and say, stay out of my motherfucking front yard.
And that's just a message of positive strength. And thanks for letting me talk, and maybe I'll see you again sometime. Good night.